Go, Toronto Argos, go, go, go. Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go, go, go. Go, Toronto Argos, go, go, go. Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go Toronto, go. Go Argos, go, go, go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 10 of the Argo Bounce Podcast Show with co-hosts Chris Pomay and Nick Small, a weekly independent, non-affiliated talk show devoted to the CFL's 19-time Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts. And I hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday, August 20th, 2026, one day before the 2026 CNE opens, and we're just 2 days away from the Argos QEW CNE game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats this Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff at BMO Field. You can get tickets at argonauts.ca. And Nick, fortunately, this week is not a victory week. This is a loss week. It was just an awful game against the Elks. Not specifically in the first half, but in the second half as well, Nick. So just thoughts on the Argos game against the Edmonton Elks.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how we were talking about the Calgary game not that long ago. A bit of a difficult situation for them. They kept it close there at the beginning in the first half. But yeah, things kind of just seemed to get away from them in the second half. A lot of injuries started to pile up. A couple of mistakes, some pretty unfortunate turnovers that came at not very good times, and it sort of killed any momentum the Argonauts had going for them in the second half of this game.
Very similar to the Calgary game, in my opinion, Nick.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, we could see the ramifications leading up to this week for the CNE game in Hamilton. It felt like everybody was dropping like flies with the injuries, and you could tell from the injury report, a lot of guys now are set available coming up for the Hamilton game, but it was a million miles long. You had Amos, Bland, Bolden, Franklin, Gauthier, Haggerty, Hermana, Hunter, John Kongbo, Mittal, Polk, Shandon, Tebner, all on the list for this week, which is quite a mouthful to run off.
Ken was at practice today, and he said there's a couple of players he doesn't think will be playing in this game. So, and the Argos, Nick signed a couple Canadians. Can you tell us about the two players they signed this week?
Oh, to be honest, I didn't actually even hear about the reports. I've been a little bit busy this week, so.
They brought back one of the guys they cut in training camp from UCLA. I believe Akeem.
There's defensive lineman Gabriel Maisonneuve and Istan Asibodadze.
Okay.
Yeah, so Asibodadze, if I remember correctly, was a Windsor defensive back, Brampton native. 30 games in this 30 games in the OUA from 2019 to 2024. I knew his name was familiar, recognizable.
I'm hoping one day the CFL will increase their rosters, because I really think football being a violent sport, I don't think, what is it currently in the CFL right now? 47 man? I know the NFL is 53, but
46
CFL's
or 47, and then you have a 10-man practice roster on top of that.
Well, Hamilton's probably got some injuries as well going into this game at this time of the year as well. So the Argos, everybody thought they had a good chance of beating Edmonton, and then I was at the Hamilton Saskatchewan game. Nobody gave Hamilton a chance to beat Saskatchewan, especially after the first half. And then the second half, they brought in Trey Ford. The reason Harrison Frost left the game was not from performance; it was due to an upper body injury, as per their head coach Scott Manelovich. And Trey Ford, we'll find out who starts the game Saturday, because I really feel that he wants to go with Frost, but I think they might be doing a quarterback combination as well. Trey Ford, to me, played one of his best games in the CFL against Saskatchewan in the second half. He didn't make any bad decisions. His mobility was good, and his arm strength is incredible. And I really feel like the more time he's in the Hamilton system, I think he's going to be. I think he might be their future quarterback in the next year or two. He has a lot of potential if he can do it on a consistent basis. That's the thing. Can he do it on a regular, every game basis?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, we also heard that Scott Milanovic missed some of practice this coming week for personal reasons, so without their head coach as well. But I think there's something about Trey Ford right now. He's starting to get things clicking with Milanovic and the Hamilton system. And what we kind of saw in the Saskatchewan game, we didn't see the sort of uncharacteristic mistakes that sometimes we've seen from him and other quarterbacks like him in the past, where they kind of are too quick to scramble, and then we see kind of the running around and then the deep ball coming out. We saw a lot less of that from Trey Ford, both in the Arnott game and in the Saskatchewan game last week.
I feel Trey Ford will start this game, but I think Harrison Frost, I think he's going to be okay to play in this game from the sounds of it. So, but Hamilton really needed that win against Saskatchewan. Being 3-6 and losing 5 out of 6 without Bo Levi Mitchell was devastating. So it was important for them to get this game. I think it's going to come down to the Tiger Cats defense against the Argos offense. It's going to come down to the O lines and the D lines. And Nick, overall thoughts on the Argos offensive line and D line against the Elks and their 42-12 loss?
Well, yeah, the big thing is ultimately the Argos need to clean up some of their mistakes offensively, specifically some of the turnovers. They generated, if I'm looking at it, they had 277 yards total offense against Edmonton, which isn't bad. Gave up 3 sacks offensively, which isn't that great. And then you had the two giveaways from interceptions and the 2 from fumbles, and then you had another 2 on downs as well. So it's really costly, and we saw that eat up in the time of possession as well. The ratio, I always say, if it's around 30 to 30 minutes, it's not bad, but it was 37 minutes to 22 in favor of Edmonton. They almost had it for a full 10 minutes longer proportionally than we did, and that net ends up being almost 20 minutes. So it's just a crippling thing to try to battle back from when you're in that sort of a deficit.
Argos had 5 turnovers in their win against Calgary. How many did they have against the Elks? I know Kelly threw a pick 6 and Arbuckle threw a pick. Did they only have 2 turnovers in that game against the Elks?
Giveaways for the Argos are listed as 6. So there was 2 interceptions. There were 2 fumbles. One was by Janarian Grant on the opening kickoff to start the second half. And then there were 2 on downs. I didn't get a chance to watch the game as much either. So I don't remember specifically when in the game that happened, but yeah, it was a difficult situation. Like, we said it coming into the game, you can't give up that many turnovers, and that going in from the turnovers they had in the Calgary game, they were still able to find a win, and it just got away from them as they started to pile up.
11 turnovers in our last 2 games. Nick, they got away with it at home against Calgary, but they didn't get away with Edmonton. And you know why Hamilton actually came back against Saskatchewan? Second half, they actually got only 2 interceptions on Trevor Harris. The first play of the game, interception, that led to Hamilton getting a touchdown up 7-0. And then in the second half, they got another interception. Trevor Harris, who normally doesn't throw interceptions, through 2. It's going to be important. The Argos cannot afford to turn the ball over against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And they do have a good wide receiving core as well. So Toronto's got to clean that up. 11 turnovers, and obviously their offensive line issues are still there as well. Now, the game was not out of it in the first half. Nick, from your perspective, what was the turning point in that second half where it went just completely south?
Well, I think it came right off the very beginning when you're getting the ball to start the second half. You're trying to build some momentum, and it's very much like how the game started the week before against Calgary. First play of the game, Janarian Grant fumbles it, and it gives the Edmonton ball in Argo zone right in scoring range, and it just it just seemed to kind of deflate the momentum that the Argos had, the energy they had going in the second half. You come in with a mindset, okay, let's march down the field, let's at least get some points on the board, take the lead, kind of put things into a bit of their control. It immediately backfires on them, and not from a trick play or anything like that, but just an honest mistake, a fumble from Janarian Grant, and no question, rewatching it, it's a fumble, and I think it just kind of killed a lot of the momentum the Argos had. I don't think, like, in some games, like the Calgary game, I think what's really different is, like, you could definitely put more blame on Chad than I think this game for the turnovers. Chad went 21 for 31, 265 yards, only one interception. Most of the mistakes that came in this game came from fumbles and turnovers on downs than interceptions being thrown by Chad.
Even the pick six, that was kind of a tip pass to Coxie, I believe. I saw the
Yeah.
highlight of it, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about that.
Exactly.
It happens.
It's yeah, and I mean we saw that happen in I think it was the Ottawa Montreal game last week, right? Where Ottawa was marching down the field and it deflected off the receiver's hands and it went right to a Montreal defender.
The running game too, Nick. I know you're not a big fan of the run game, but I think they only ran the ball 9 or 10 times for 40 yards, if that. The running game was non-existent, and that starts with the offensive line too, man. You got to get that running game going too, and it's disappointing. Disappointing losses. By the way, we've got Ken. He was at Argo's practice today. He wants to say good evening, guys. Thank you, Ken, for watching us. Ken, if you got some comments, please put them in the comments section as well. I wonder if Ken's going to go to practice tomorrow at Lamport. And Nick, do you have any plans on going to practice next week?
I do plan on next week. I just don't have the availability right now for this current week, but I definitely plan on going before I guess will be the Labor Day rematch next week on Labor Day Monday. And then, just kind of looking at, I mean, defensively, they still played well against the run defensively. Rankin had 16 carries and only 47 yards out of it. Leak did slightly better. He had, moderately better, I should say. He had 6 carries for 58 yards, so almost 10 yards a carry. And then Fajardo, not what you'd expect from him. He had 3 scrambles for 50 yards. So it sounded to me like Edmonton made a lot of really good adjustments after the first half, and while Toronto's defense was trying to adjust again to meet it, it just kind of fell apart, and Toronto wasn't able to keep up offensively. I mean, we said this many times before, but Toronto's a team that relies on being able to consistently score 30-ish points a game to be able to remain competitive. And by the end of this game, they had just 12 points on the board to show for their efforts, 4 field goals.
By the way, for Argo fans, the Argos are 0-2 in Alberta this year, and they've been outscored 100-48. They gave up 58 to the Stamps in Calgary, 42 to the Edmonton. So for the Argos and the fans, you might want to avoid traveling to Alberta. And unfortunately, the Grey Cup this year is out in Calgary. But yeah, they've not had much luck out in Calgary and Edmonton as well. Nick, I got another comment here too, by the way. And this is from Ken. And Ken wants to say BMO Field walkthrough tomorrow only. Okay. Thanks, Ken, for the update there as well.
Yeah, they usually, but day before game day, they usually don't have practice at Lamport. If it's home, they'll usually do a walkthrough. And my mistake, I just took another look, and I forgot it was 2 field goals from Lidster, and then they had the one score in the second half that they missed the extra point convert on.
That's 7 points right there. I'm not saying it would have made a difference in the game, but you have any concerns about rookie kicker Brady Lidster missing a couple field goals and an extra point?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we've seen him, I think, miss what, 2 extra points now so far, so that's not great given how you kinda thought with the momentum he came in on the first game, the that he came in the win against BC. Um, yeah, I think there's a little worries about what exactly it means, but I think they gotta give both, whether it's him and or Liram, I don't know the status, but you need to give them some time to figure it out. I think there's s- it's really hard now mid-season to just keep a revolving door of kickers coming in.
Have you heard from any of the fan base about the coaching staff yet? Some people want some changes in the coaching staff, which I highly doubt they're going to make right now.
I mean, we weren't supposed to win either of these games against Edmonton or Calgary. So the fact we won the Calgary game at home, it actually put us in a pretty good spot. I kind of think in the bigger picture, this game is kind of meaningless. In the standings, it's way more significant that we win these 2 games back to back against Hamilton, win back the Harold Ballard Trophy, and then that puts us several games up on Hamilton, and we hold the tiebreaker in case things change and we are in a tiebreaker scenario. So to me, the value on winning this game next week against Hamilton is far more important.
Hey, Nick, we didn't get a chance the last time to do this, but I want to play the interview with rookie kicker Brady Lidster from the Windsor Lancers. I'll just play this interview right now, and so the fans can get to know Brady a little bit better. Even though Brady's had some struggles the last couple of games, he's a really good guy, great to talk to. And again, guys, live with CDP Talk Show, Chris Pomay YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share. And here's my interview from 2 weeks ago when the Argos were still practicing here at the University of Guelph with Windsor Lancer alumni kicker for the Argonauts, number 16, Brady Lidster. CDP Media Productions live at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph for the final time for Toronto Argonauts practice season as the Argos head back to Toronto on Wednesday, and they're back in action Thursday night against the Calgary Stampeders. I have a special guest with us, Windsor Lancers alumni and CFL rookie kicker Brady Lidster. Brady, just thoughts on practice today?
First of all, thanks for having me and interviewing quick. But yeah, it was a good day of practice, building on every day and continuing to do what we can to set ourselves up best for the game on Thursday.
Thoughts on your OUA career with the Windsor Lancers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity that the coaches and players gave me to be able to do what I did. But I mean, I'm able to sit with it and be happy. And now I'm moved on and looking to have some success here.
Who are some of your early influences in football, mentors and influences?
As far as from youth football, Paul Chapman from the St. Thomas Hawks, LMFA. And then throughout high school, I've had numerous amount of coaches that have influenced me a lot. But KJ Kenemy from London Junior Mustangs was a big impact in how I approach the game of football, how I conduct myself, and as well as conduct with everybody else. But yeah, I'd say those two would be the biggest.
What was your most memorable kick in game with Windsor?
My most memorable kick in the game with Windsor, I'd say probably last season against Queens at their homecoming game. I hit a kick from 50 yards with about 30 seconds left to put us ahead.
What are your thoughts on the facilities here at the University of Guelph?
Oh, they're amazing, and obviously all of us are beyond grateful to be able to use them and be able to be in the meeting room, therapy, cold tubs, weight room, all that stuff. But yeah, just grateful to be able to make use of it.
Thoughts on your first CFL game against the BC Lions? Did you have a little nerves?
It was a good game. I mean, I was excited to play for sure. And once I got warming up and got into the groove of the game, it was just like any other game.
Can you tell us about the importance of the O-line and the snapper and the holder, that it's a true team unit to even get a single point or a field goal these days?
100%. And without those guys, I wouldn't be able to do my job. They have a much bigger impact than anyone really notices. But honestly, yeah, without those guys doing their job and being on point, it doesn't matter what I do because I won't be able to, right? Without that snap from Adam and the hold from James, as well as all the offensive linemen blocking and making sure the guys don't get through. All the credit should really go to them, to be honest. But yeah.
Did you keep that first football that you got a field goal?
You know what? I didn't get that football, but that's okay. That's okay.
And then thoughts on kicking at BC Place as a rookie?
Yeah, it was amazing to be able to use their facility in the inside with no wind. I mean, can't really complain as a specialist as far as that's concerned. But yeah, it was a great day out there, and it was can't say anything more about it. It was just great.
As a kicker, do you have any rituals or superstitions?
Not too much. I mean, I pretty much follow same diet and sleep pattern, stuff like that outside of football. But once I'm here, I mean, I like to just be loose and reactive and be able to just do my thing without having to think too much.
Have you had a chance to kick yet at BMO Field?
I haven't. This will be the first time I'm going to BMO Field.
And how important is faith in your football career?
It's everything, right? Like giving you myself as a person, somebody to believe in and put all my trust into, and just understand the process and not be worried about one small thing or one thing at practice. Like it's more of a process and long-term goals.
And finally, what's one fun fact about Brady Lister that the Argo fans might not know about?
One fun fact. I have to. Big fisherman. If you want to catch some fish, me and my cousin Brennan, we'll put you guys on if you want to catch some fish.
Best place in Ontario to fish?
I like up north by North Bay. A couple of my buddies have cottages up there, and I mean, it's a great time being up there with them.
And finally, where can Argo fans follow you on social media? And do you have any last words for Argo fans for Thursday night at BMO Field against the Calgary Stampeders?
Yes, sir. I have an Instagram. It's just Brady Lidster. And then as far as Argo fans, we're happy to have you guys here. Be loud, supportive, and we're going to make something happen for you guys for sure. It's going to be a great show.
Well, Brady, I want to say thank you so much. Congratulations in your first CFL game, first win, and looking forward to Thursday night's game at 7:30 at BMO Field against the Calgary Stampeders. Make sure you check out the Argo Bounce podcast show this week with Nick Small and myself, and hopefully we'll be able to break down an Argos win against a very good Calgary's team. Brady, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Next thoughts on the interview with Brady Lidster.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we know we ended up pulling away with the victory from that game. With thanks to Brady, he had there was that one missed extra point, that one missed field goal, but he didn't let it get to him when he nailed that longer 50-something yarder. That was afterwards later in the game. So it was good that they kept his confidence going. A little bit of struggles in the Edmonton game, but as the scoreboard can kind of reflect, it wasn't entirely his fault that it ended up being that way. But yeah, we kind of see how with Liram being still on the 6-game injured list, and Brady being in there, it makes it harder too, because we know they're going for it as one of those Canadian positions on special teams. So it also kind of narrows who you can have, where you can sign players from, because I think when you look at sort of the OUA or U Sports football in general, there's really not many kickers that I think you would see from the university game who would maybe be like in the top tier of CFL kickers. It's a pretty niche role, so I think it makes it a bit more of a challenge when you have to look in just the small kind of Canadian realm and not being able to look at players from, say, NFL camps or from U.S. colleges. Like it really narrows your field down when you only have 30 some odd teams to look at, as opposed to another 50 to 100 that you can get at the U.S. colleges, depending on how far you want to look.
Nick, after 9 games, what is your biggest concern with this 2026 Toronto Argonauts team going into the Hamilton game?
If it wasn't for the Calgary game, I was starting to worry about the defense a lot, but they've really kind of turned it around where they've become kind of one of the backbones of the Argonauts doing well. I think sometimes there's been concerns with Chad in the QB play, just because he is throwing more interceptions than he has in the last couple seasons. But I think it's also just him trying to sort of make up for lost time with the time he lost there last season with his injury. But I think ultimately for me, it comes down to the offensive line being able to block and provide him with the pass protection. It seems sometimes there's just not quite enough time that that I think Chad needs as he does. And to your point, with the running game to support it, there's been some games where they ran the ball really well, but of course the Edmonton game, for instance, wasn't one that they were doing particularly well.
Well, Nick, we're going to move on from the Edmonton game, and before we talk about the Hamilton Tiger Cats, we got to talk about the return of Argo's legendary linebacker, Wynton McManus. Thoughts, Nick, on Wynton McManus coming back to BMO Field for his first game as a member of the enemy Hamilton Tiger Cats?
Well, he's an opposing linebacker. At the end of the day, they gotta play him. He's no longer an Argonaut. He's Ticat. He's on the other team. You gotta play him as you would any other linebacker. And I think what sometimes is a challenge when you have a really talented middle linebacker that can cover so much ground in the field, it's you still want to find ways to challenge them, but of course you don't want to get too far into committing to one way. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Argos choose to do towards the middle of the field. Do they still take risks and attack it, or do they play away from McManus completely? I think as good as he is, I think it's a mistake if you decide to avoid one big section of the field just because of one individual covering it.
Do you feel he'll get a good reception from the fan base, or do you feel it'll be boos?
If he was in another team's colors, maybe not, but probably might get some cheers initially. But I think it's if he makes any big plays for Hamilton, I mean, he's a Ticat now. It's gonna probably get some resentment maybe.
Do you feel he played long enough in Toronto and did enough in Toronto to, in the future, become an old-time Argo? Do you feel that his body of work was enough in the future and his time with Toronto that would be an old-time Argo?
I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. To be honest, I if he comes back to Toronto, I could see a bigger case. But I think, yeah, I mean, you have two great cops. You have him as a defensive captain. He didn't play as much. He played well leading up to the playoffs in the first Grey Cup. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard when you compare him to, say, Kevin Iben, who's going to be added to the list this year. I think he maybe needed just a little bit of a longer tenure, but it's ultimately not up for us to decide. It's up to the Alumni Association. They're the ones who ultimately get to make that final decision.
Are you looking forward to this weekend's games, or Saturday's game with Kevin Iben and Carl Brazeley going in as all-time Argos?
Oh yeah, I think we all are. I think Carl Brazeley was a guy on a lot of fans' kind of nostalgia list for people they wanted to see add to the all-time Argos list. And of course, Kevin Iben, who spent the last couple seasons as an Argonauts linebacker coach, co-coordinator last season. It's nice to see him get some extra recognition as an all-time Argo member himself, and it kind of makes you wonder some of the other guys who's going to potentially be on that list in the future.
Now, Nick, it is the CNE game. So before the Argos Hamilton game, are you going to the CNE early to try some of your favorite foods?
Yeah, that is definitely a big thing on my list. You guys know I do the Small Eats CNE segment, and I am looking forward to some of the interesting and somewhat weird concoctions that they come up with. This year, there's a pretty weird mix of sweet and savory. I think some of the ones that really stand out as peculiar. There's this cotton candy jerk chicken waffle. Looks like it's on a stick from the promo images, but I don't know. I think the other ones that are kind of in the gnarly category are the pickle and bacon flavored coffees and the Booster Juice Craft Dinner Smoothie, a pineapple and mango smoothie mixed with Kraft Dinner cheese powder.
You're going to try the ketchup and mustard ice cream again?
Probably not, because I had those before, so I know what they taste like. Some of the ones that are probably going to be a little bit more palatable that I'm interested in looking at, they have a dill pickle pierogi egg roll, peg rolls as they're calling them. There is a Jamaican beef patty mini Progi. So as you can tell, Polish in my background. I love my progies. Another one that sounds really, really good, a Korean style fried chicken ramen taco. And then there was one other one. I don't see it on this list here on the official website, but there's a couple other ones I saw people promoting that look pretty good. Foot long butter chicken taquito. So like a big, almost like a big burrito of long burrito of butter chicken. If you like, there's some fusions that I think work really well if you can take kind of things that are in handheld modes, or but infuse them with different culture cuisines. So like as you see Mexican and Korean food for the fried chicken, or Indian style butter chicken with a Mexican style roll, a taquito or something. I think there's some versatility there. But I think when you start mixing like something really sweet with cotton candy, or with something really kind of sour, or like meaty, like a jerk chicken, I think that's where maybe you're kind of stretching the palate a little bit.
What do you think of with the CNE going on? They have an Ed Sheeran concert going on. I'm sure there's one going on at the RBC amphitheater. What kind of crowd do you expect to see? And do you think the Argo should have pushed this game to be a 3 o'clock game and should have done a promo for this game too?
I don't know if it would have made a difference. I mean, we see the positive news, like we've seen that the upper deck's open again, so they've had enough ticket sales with the promotion of the free CNE admission that we've got that Upper East Side opened up, which is always a good sign of ticket sales. But it's a big taxing thing everywhere in Toronto this weekend. There's the opening weekend of the CNE and the Argos game. There's the amphitheater. There's a concert at the Rogers Stadium in the North End. There's a concert going on at the Sky Dome. There's not a Jays game, but a concert there, I believe. I think there's something else going on at the ACC. So there's Scotiabank Arena. There's a lot of things going on in the area all at once. So it's gonna be a big pressure on Metrolinx to see how that goes. But there's a lot going on. It's also the Warriors Day Parade, opening day Saturday. If you go first thing in the morning, you can honor Canada's veterans and members of the Legion at the Warriors Day Parade first thing in the morning in front of the Prince's Gate. So there's all kinds of things going on. It's gonna be a crazy day, and it's the Toronto thing. It's the thing that like we talk about that makes Toronto. It makes it really difficult attendance wise, because we've got millions of people, but we've got all these other events under the sun. And I think a lot of people, you ask objectively, would you rather go to a football game or an Ed Sheeran concert? If you ask, even if you went to a place like Winnipeg or Saskatchewan and you heard Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift or someone, maybe not the diehard football fans, but there'd probably be a lot of the casual fans that would rather see a concert for a big name like that over their football team, right? So it's a thing that Toronto deals with every single night we play. It doesn't matter if we move it to 3 o'clock or we move it to Sunday or we move it to, well, I don't know, Friday night. It doesn't matter. There's always something going on.
And they're saying they should expect at least 5,000 Hamilton Tiger Cat fans too, because they said the win against Saskatchewan just got more fans excited about this game. If Hamilton had lost against Saskatchewan and gone 3-7, I don't think as many fans would have come down to Toronto. So I think that win over Saskatchewan will bring, I'm guessing, at least 5,000 Hamilton fans on Saturday.
I doubt it. That argument about Hamilton fans coming to Flower Stadium has been beaten to death with a stick. We've had the best attendance we've ever had on any game in BMO Field was the opener, the first game we ever had at BMO Field, and the argument that Hamilton fans are filling our stadium. There is going to be a chunk of Hamilton fans behind the Hamilton match, but it's not like it equals or overwhelms the amount of Argos fans. That simply isn't true. We've had better attendance in playoff games against Ottawa and Montreal than over Hamilton. So that argument is just a myth. It doesn't work.
Do you believe the Argos should have done some kind of giveaway for this game, or you think with the CNE going on and free admission, that's good enough?
But between the CNE, between the alumni events, I think that's enough. I don't think every event warrants a giveaway. Like it's hard because you only have so much money you can put towards promotion, so you have to be a bit strategic for it. And I think with what they're getting out of it, we already know again the East decks open up, so they've made enough ticket sales. Do they really need to push the envelope further with another giveaway on top of everything else? And especially with the CNE going on, it's an even bigger logistics headache of trying to get all that stuff managed at all the gates prior to the game, right?
And they're going to have the Argos cheerleader, the Argos dance team alumni there too as well.
Oh, that's nice. That's always cool. It's cool because often when they have that, they'll often do some sort of intermission or halftime thing performance where they'll have some of the alumni cheerleaders. Even sometimes we'll see some of their daughters or family members come out too that'll perform as well. So that's always a really nice moment to see.
What are you looking forward to the most about the game, the CNE game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats? What time do you plan to get to the grounds by?
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm going to be there first thing in the morning for the Warriors Day Parade. I love being able to take full advantage of the ticket to be able to come down early and to enjoy the entire day down at the CNE. I'm always a big fan of the food, as you know. I mentioned that already, so I'll be looking forward to just wandering around. You guys will see me post updates on all the weird concoctions I end up trying, as well as a couple of staples. And then as for the game itself, it's just figuring out how to shut down Trey Ford, something they struggled with last time. I think if they if all the guys that are available on their injury list come back, it's their injuries situation isn't as bad as the depth chart looks. And if they can just find a way to at least keep Trey Ford boxed, I think you're better off beating him by making him throw rather than him beating you with his legs, like we kind of saw them be able to control Vernon Adams 2 weeks ago.
I wouldn't be shocked if Frost starts this game and then Ford will come in by committee. By the way, they have obviously Kenny Lawler, Curly Getting Jr., but they also have a receiver they got from Winnipeg, Carrick Wheatfall, who had 9 catches for over 108 yards and a touchdown last week. The Argos secondary has their hands full with these Hamilton receivers, even without Bo Levi Mitchell. These guys have developed the chemistry. I would say more with Ford than Frost, but I'm predicting Frost will start the game if he's healthy. And if not, then Ford will start the game. But I think they're going to go with a quarterback committee with the team. Who's ever got the hot hand?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it sounds like Trey Ford took the majority of reps in practice, so I think it would be a little weird now that if they went right away with Harrison Frost. And I mean, with the Toronto Argonauts in terms of their receiving core, we saw the return of Tyler Coleman. He didn't have a huge game. If I'm reading the right. Yep. He had 6 targets, 4 receptions for 56 yards. Kevin Mittal had that one really big reception. He was 8 for 6 for 89, but he pulled up there with that hamstring injury. But it looks like he'll be addressed. And then, of course, the one big absence we're going to have is Makai Polk. He was added to the 6-game injury list with his foot injury that he suffered in the Hamilton game. And we just saw another pick six. Ottawa just threw a pick six to Montreal. So now they're down 20-7 early in the second quarter.
Ottawa's already lost 15 straight games going back to last year. This will be 16. I think they're gonna have a chance at the CFL record of 25. I believe the Ottawa Rough Riders have that record. If Ken's watching our show, Ken or anyone that's CFL expert on stats, I would be curious to see if the Rough Riders have that record. But Ottawa is a complete mess right now. They just fired their president. They already let their defensive coordinator goes. I expect there's going to be more changes before the end of the year. I don't think the head coach is going to be going anywhere soon, but I have a feeling Ryan Dimwitty will not be doing both roles next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they make do of that. I mean, you kind of hope by now they'd have at least one win on the board, and they had a couple of close games. It's what I know they passed Shreveport, the Pirates, last week when they lost to Montreal, and 0-9, not great for Ryan Dinwiddie. He hasn't won a game as head coach since we beat Edmonton. I think it was one of our last home games last year. It might have been our last. And funny enough, I remember it because there was the yelling on the sideline with him and now Argonauts defensive line coach Demetris Maxey. So there was that moment that happened in that game. And yeah, it seems it's kind of gone downhill for him and for Ottawa since then, and not looking any better tonight.
Ottawa's only had 2 winning seasons since the Red Blacks have been there. It's not been a very good, other than the Grey Cup win in 2016. The organization has been a failure. And I was talking to one of the TSN broadcasters. I said it's great that Edmonton has now become good again. It makes the league better, but I said Ottawa is a complete mess, and that is a big concern going forward too, because you can't expect them to sell out their games or get good attendance when the product year after year after year in Ottawa has been bad.
Well, there's another city in the East that dealt with that exact same problem not that long ago. Ironically enough, is a team, the Montreal Alouettes. Look at after Anthony Calvillo got concussed and injured, and until they finally managed to get some momentum with Cody Fajardo winning the Grey Cup there, Davis Alexander now in. Montreal was in almost the same boat. Nobody was going to the Alouettes games. Like we were talking about the $40 all you can eat thing at the Argos game. They had an even cheaper all you can eat section in Montreal, and like they just could not fill that place. And it was the same thing, just a big revolving door of football personnel. So you got to think at some point Ottawa's going to figure it out, but as you kind of see, when one starts to rise, it's the nature of the sport. It's at the expense of another, and when one perpetually stays in the bottom, it makes it a really big challenge to draw fans out. And I mean, when you look at Toronto in our circumstance, yeah, we had a rough season last year, but in the grand scheme of things, we're pretty lucky considering we've had 2 Grey Cups since COVID.
Ottawa's only won the Grey Cup twice in the last 50 years, Nick, 1976 and 2016, but it's going to be a while before this organization. And the problem with their organization is the ownership hires the wrong people. It all starts with ownership. And Edmonton now finally has the right owner who's hired the right general manager, the right coaching staff, and it all starts with ownership. And Ottawa is just a complete disaster. And it's not a good look for the league if they go winless. And obviously, nobody wants to go 0-18, but after tonight, they're going to be 0-11 unless they pull off a comeback win. By the way, Ken confirmed what I thought. The Ottawa Rough Riders do have the record 25 consecutive losses in a row, which they still got a ways to go yet. And Ken said that happened in 1928 to 1932. So after tonight, it'll be 16 in a row. So that record should be safe for another year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens when it comes to personnel. I think sometimes the challenge is when you have a new reform like this, it's trying to give them that opportunity to rebuild properly. I think what was kind of unfortunate was we thought 2 years ago Ottawa was starting to make some progress. Then they lost to Toronto in the East final or East semifinal, and then they I think finished behind us last year if I remember correctly. But either way, it's hard because when you look at some other teams, when you have a bad season but you're committed to a long-term rebuild, it makes it a little bit easier knowing that, like in the case of Edmonton, with their head coach, they were able to kind of give him a year. Winnipeg, they gave Mike O'Shea a year. There's that kind of element to it too, where maybe you do kind of need to give Dinwiddie a year to kind of fill it out. But I mean, when you also had some other controversy stuff like the Drew Brown thing versus Jake Mayer and stuff like that, it's a difficult look, and it's hard to figure out because when you've made that move and you still can't figure out a way to win, it's a difficult look on the team, right?
Well, right now with them 0-10, they've seen enough of Jake Mayer. As far as I'm concerned, McLeod Bethel Thompson, who isn't the future, obviously, he's at the tail end of his career. I would be putting him in right now just to see if he can spark the offense. And you want to try to get a win. Obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. They're not going to even be close to a competitive record. But I would put McLeod Bethel Thompson in and see what he can do. And what do you have to lose with putting him in being 0-10 right now? Most likely 0-11.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, that leash is a million miles long, and there's another dropped pass there that I think the receiver should have had. But yeah, I don't know. Like I gotta think, despite the amount of rope that they've given Mayer, it's gotta it. Not every loss has been his fault, but there's got to be at some point that line's got to get cut. I mean, compare that to, it's funny, it's the exact opposite situation in Hamilton, where the rope is almost too thin in Hamilton, where you're almost worried you're going to make a mistake, because if you make one INT, well, Trey Ford, you're out. Harrison Frost, you're in. Oh, Frost, you threw an interception.
Yeah.
Dolagala, you're in. It's your turn. It just seems it's hard, and that's part of football. And coaching. It's trying to find that right balance, and I think you kind of see between the two teams, they're on sort of opposite ends of the spectrum of the philosophy, and yeah. Oh, kicked it wide.
Kim was just confirming what I already said. The Ottawa president stepped down. I don't know if he stepped down or he got fired, but he's out of there. And there's going to be more changes with Ottawa at some point. But I really think they got to try to play McLeod Bethel Thompson or the third string quarterback at some point. Play some of these young kids. See what they have. You need to find out now. So there's a lot of work to be done in Ottawa. But I am glad Edmonton is back, because it makes the CFL stronger with a strong Edmonton team. Now it's just a matter of time of fixing Ottawa as well. And Nick, one thing I wanted to ask you before we get into the Week 12 games is, what are some keys, in your opinion, to an Argos win over a gritty Hamilton team, and how important is this game in terms of playoff positioning, especially with the crossover?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge right now. Both teams are 4-5. We're 4-5. Hamilton's 4-6. So we do have a game in hand right now, but they have an extra bye week at this point relative to schedule. But this game against Hamilton, and then the Labor Day game in 2 weeks, we play Saskatchewan on the 29th in Saskatchewan. Then we have kind of a slightly longer week going into Labor Day on the 7th. That's kind of those are probably the two most important games coming up right now this season. If we lose this game, that puts Hamilton a game ahead of us, and
plus
they
the
win
tiebreaker,
the season series. Yep. The season series tiebreaker. So it's important for us that we find a way to win this game. And I think you're key to it. I'm less worried about them defensively right now, because they've played really well the last couple of games. I think now it shifts to, head coach Mike Miller and the coaching philosophy on the offense, because they seem to be struggling a little bit right now to generate some offense. They've made some mistakes, and so I think that's where they really have to try to clean it up, preventing turnovers, especially fumbles, and to just get some consistent drives going early in the games.
Do you see Miller in the offense maybe trying to start the game running the ball, or do you think you see Miller in the offense attacking Hamilton secondary right away?
Well, they did against Calgary, and they fumbled on the opening play of the game. So we've seen them try that, and I think I think generally it's a good philosophy to open with a running play, but sometimes it can be predictable, and it's hard to tell with Wyndham McManus, because he is such a good middle linebacker there. It could make it a bit more challenging. I think maybe they could look more to some more short field plays, not necessarily screens, but they go for some more kind of quick hitting stuff, especially if there's a little bit more of that separation from the kind of 5-10 yards off the line of scrimmage. I think Hamilton's probably going to try to feed off of Chad throwing deep, which I think Hamilton plays fairly well. I mean, you look at like someone like Stav Katsantonis, who's really
Ball
good
hawk.
there in the safety.
Ball hawk.
Yeah.
And he's almost guaranteed an interception every game. That's how good he is.
Yeah, and then they also still have Jamal Peters, right, former Argo. Yeah. So guys like that. I think that's where you want to try to play a little bit more shorter, lure them in, and then you can take your shots deep later in the game.
They need to get Smith and Hicks involved. I'm not saying run the ball 30 times, but try to get them more involved. Get Hicks is probably one of the fastest guys on the Argos team. So I really feel they need to get him involved early. And Isaiah Smith, get him a little more work as well. The Hamilton defense is just going to tee off on Kelly if they just decide. The Argos are like, hey, we're going to throw the ball 45, 50 times. They're going to tee off on the Argos because they know the Argos offensive line is a weak spot. So I feel it's important to get some kind of running game going with Hicks and Smith, and maybe get them out of the backfield as well. So they're gonna have to protect Chad Kelly too. By the way, they're gonna have to protect him.
It feels a lot like where you sometimes saw with Dinwiddie, back when they had Curly Gins and Macbeth. You often saw that jet sweep play. I think we saw it tried with Janarian Grant. So they pitched to a wide receiver rather than a running back. I wonder if maybe they could try a few more times, maybe to stretch up the field a little bit more laterally, as well as just power running. That might be a kind of thing that might take advantage of the speed that Sammy Hicks has.
Absolutely. And Nick, as we wrap this up, I'm going to get your thoughts on CFL Week 12. Hard to believe it's already Week 12. We've got Thursday night football going on right now with Ottawa and Montreal, Winnipeg and Edmonton Friday night. And then Saturday, we have Hamilton and Toronto at 7 o'clock. And then Sunday, Saskatchewan at BC. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first with my picks?
You can go first, Chris. I think I went first last time.
All right. Regardless of the score right now, I'm picking Montreal over Ottawa. And then Winnipeg and Edmonton. You know what? I'm going to go with Edmonton, but that game is going to be a nail biter. I feel that's going to be a nail biter. I think it's going to come down to the last play of the game, but I think the Elks will win at home. And then Hamilton and Toronto. Nick, I'm doing it as media. My heart as a season ticket holder says the Argos, but as my brain for media, I just think Hamilton's defense, seeing their defense a couple times this year up in Hamilton, I think they've got the edge because of their defense. So I'm going to go with the Tiger Cats in a close game over the Argos. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a really close game. I think maybe 23-20 Hamilton. And then Saskatchewan and BC. I'm going to go with the BC Lions at home and an upset over Saskatchewan. I don't think Saskatchewan is as good as they were last year, in my opinion.
Okay, so on to myself, like you, I picked Montreal over Ottawa before the game started at home. I have Edmonton over Winnipeg at home. I have Toronto over Hamilton at home. And the one road upset I have picked, I have Saskatchewan over BC on the road.
Yeah, again, I got Ottawa, Edmonton, Hamilton, and BC. BC's been playing better football lately too. So, but we'll see. I think which game besides the Toronto Hamilton game, what other game are you looking forward to this weekend?
That's a good question. I think I kind of split between Winnipeg and Edmonton and Saskatchewan at BC. I think Edmonton should win handily at home against Winnipeg. I don't think it should be a close game at all. But Saskatchewan at BC will be interesting because Saskatchewan, I don't know if it's because of the championship buff and how other teams kind of mentally say, oh, we're playing the defending Grey Cup champs. We want to play them better, harder, stronger, more aggressively. But, Saskatchewan maybe hasn't looked the kind of team like maybe we saw out of them last year. They're lost some games, which maybe you might have thought last season they should have pulled away from. BC's kind of trending in the opposite direction where they've played a lot better recently, especially with Nathan Rourke back. But I still think Saskatchewan should have a stronger edge even in BC. I think them being the only indoors climate control dome stadium, I think that can have just as strong of an impact on road teams. It's less sometimes of a home field advantage. Like how many times do we see the Argos play at home at the Sky Dome and find ways to choke it?
Hey, Nick, before you wrap the show up, are you going to have any kind of drinks at the CNE this year? Try something different?
I don't know yet. I really don't know if my heart is into trying the craft dinner mango thing. That's a little bit too much for me. I might generally a coffee person. Bacon I could see being palatable or tolerable in a coffee. I don't know about pickle juice. Um don't know about some of the other things yet. Probably post game we'll have a little celebration, especially if the Argos can find a way to pull it off. And as always, I will be posting it both on my Instagram through Facebook, as well as X, Twitter, through my channel Nick Small 38.
Is your entire family going to be with you at the game?
Not sure yet. It'll probably just be myself, my mom at the game. My dad plans on being there for the morning half, and my brother will be around the grounds somewhere doing something else, I'm sure.
Well, after the game, I'm hoping I can meet up with you guys and have a drink with you after.
Oh yeah, we'll be there. I mean, we'll have lots of time after the game to hang out.
Yes, and I'm going to have more Argos content from the locker room and pregame as well, Nick. So I'm hoping to see you guys all before the game. I'm going to try to get down there early. My biggest stress for that day is to find a parking spot at Aldershot, because the last home game, it took me a half an hour to find a parking spot, and I couldn't understand why on a Thursday it was full, and that was because of the concert right beside. So I'm just praying that I can find a parking spot at Aldershot. Once I get my car parked there, everything else is stress free going down to the Toronto. And apparently, Metrolinx is going to apparently have extra trains on this weekend.
Yeah, you kind of hope so with the CNE and everything else going on, but it's going to be an all hands on deck situation for them there. As you mentioned already, there's probably 500,000 people going to all these different events going on, but so it'll be very taxing on public transit. Not to mention, even though it's a Saturday, there still are people who need to get to their 9 to 5s on the weekend.
And the weather on Saturday is going to be around 25 Celsius, which is around 80 Fahrenheit, and there's a 90% chance of rain.
Yeah, could be a wet one, so bring your ponchos.
Not if you're in the media press box.
Well, I'm under the awning on the west side, so I'm not worried about that either. But it's interesting because we saw it rain before the game, our home opener against Calgary, and the field held up really well. It'll be really interesting to see what happens if they continue to play, if they play throughout an entire game of rain, whether or not it holds up to the same strength.
I think it will. I'm going to be honest, Nick. That's the best grass field I've ever been on in my life. And shame on the Buffalo Bills. Their grass field is all ripped up and the players are already complaining about it. So you know what? People shouldn't complain about BMO Field because it might be almost 20 years old, but it's a lot nicer than the Bills' new stadium, which has a lot of issues in that. I don't think there's one obstructive seat at BMO Field, Nick. I don't know if there is. I should walk around and see if there is one obstructive seat there. I really don't think there is a bad seat in that stadium.
Yeah, the one thing that's nice about it, the quaintness, and it helps with the noise too. It really amplifies it. And like we kind of talked to Mike Hogan last week about, or kind of contemplating about it aloud. We'll see maybe if there's more rain in the forecast, brings more wind. We'll see if that north end zone with the new suites there, if whether or not that really does act like a buffer in terms of keeping the wind kind of contained in where it used to kind of be a big funnel. So we'll have the banners up. We'll be able to find out, but it'll be interesting to see if that influences the game at all as well.
Hopefully I'll run into you and your mom before the game, and then after the game, I would like to have a nice drink before I go back on that GO train. So, folks, if you go down, take the GO train, but be prepared for a little bit of a wait and delays because it's going to be packed. And also, if you want to get tickets, you go to argonauts.ca. That's argonauts.ca. And where can people watch and listen to the game, Nick?
Yeah, as always, you can watch the game on TSN if you're watching on TV. I don't know if it's on CBC or CFL, but it will definitely be on CFL Plus internationally. But for the US, take a quick peek to see if it's on CBS. If not, it'll be on CFL Plus. And then, as always, if you want to listen to the best audio team in the CFL, Mike Hogan and Ben Grant on TSN 1050 radio. You can play it on your car radio if you live in the GTA, or if you can't, you can always stream it online. If you go to TSN on the website, the 3-bar drop down, you can find TSN radio and you can select the 1050 broadcast there.
And I want to say thank you to Ken for watching. Ken, thank you for watching. And I do miss the Argos practicing here in Guelph, but for the team and that, it's a lot better for them to be in their home stadium. So, Ken, thank you for going to practices. Thank you, Ken, for watching. And I want to say thank you, everyone, for watching this show live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram. And the Argo Bounce podcast show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. And if you're a business and company and you're looking to advertise on the Argo Bounce podcast show, please contact myself or Nick Small, and we can work out some kind of arrangement to advertise your business and company here on the Argo Bounce podcast show. Nick, this is like episode number 52 and 51 for you, Nick. So I want to say thank you so much for coming on. And you know one thing, Nick, when I'm not feeling 100%, when we do this show, I feel so much better. It's just like going down to BMO Field. Doesn't matter if you're having an off day or you're not feeling good. As soon as you walk down that stadium and you see the fans and the players, you automatically feel so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I will have to bring up next time. So Carl Brazeley was one of the ones, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, one of these guys who everybody wanted to be added to the all-time Argos list. The question
Including
now
myself.
is who becomes the next guy that everybody thinks should be added to the Argos
Hank
list?
Ilisic. Number
My
8,
choice.
Hank
I'll
Ilisic.
see if you recognize his name. Norm Stoneberg is going to be the guy I'm going to push.
Okay. Don't know that one. Okay, that's well before my time.
Yep. I think he played in as early as in the 50s. So, yeah, that'll be my name. So then the list rolls on as we looked at other Argonauts, greats, legends, and guys who we think should be added. So whether you're here on Team Ilisic or Team Stoneberg, there's going to be some more names we'll be throwing at over the coming weeks. So we appreciate everybody watching, and we hope for you guys to check it out in future episodes of the Argo Bounce.
Nick, where can our audience follow you on social media and the best way of contacting you?
Yep. As I said already, Nick Small 38 on Instagram or Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Well, Nick, I want to say thank you so much for doing episode 10 tonight, and we will figure out a day and time next week, and fingers crossed we can get a special guest on our show as well. So fingers crossed on that. But I'm looking forward. Hopefully I can get down there Saturday. If I can get a parking spot at Aldershot, I will be down there for the Argos and Hamilton game in the media press box.
Yep. Well, get down early. You can join me for the Warriors Day Parade at 10 a.m.
Except being media, I don't know if I get into the CNE free. So I'm going to have to put in for a CNE media pass.
Well, if you got your pass through the Argos, they should let you in through that. I don't see why they wouldn't.
So, yeah, and I have Chris's email as well. So, big shout out to Chris Belnovich, Toronto Argonauts organization. Argos, Tiger Cats, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, TSN 1050, pregame 6:30 with Hogan and Ben Grant, TSN 7 o'clock. All I know is Dwayne Ford will be the analyst. I am not sure who the play-by-play announcer is. Fun fact here, Rod Smith, who's their number one play-by-play guy on TSN, is only scheduled to do one game at BMO Field this year.
With the rain in the forecast, you got to think it's Marshall Ferguson, right?
I have a suspicion it is Marshall Ferguson. And by the way, Luke Wilson is here in Guelph right now, coaching up the Guelph Griffins at the University of Guelph at Alumni Stadium too.
Well, good for him.
So, anyways, you got to meet Luke one day, by the way. You got to meet him one day. But, anyways, Nick, I want to say thank you so much for doing this. Say hi to your family for me. And we will hopefully run into you Saturday afternoon before the game and then after the game for one traditional drink.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Take care, everyone, and have a great night. And as always, go Argos.
Thanks, Nick. All right, everyone, that wraps up season 5, episode 10 of the Argo Bounce podcast show with co-host Nick Small and myself, a weekly independent talk show devoted to the CFL's Toronto Argonauts. And I want to say thank you to everyone, including Ken. Ken is a friend of mine, and Ken is a Argonaut super fan and CFL fan. Thank you so much, Ken, for watching and listening to our show. And I'm excited about doing episode 11 next week. Stay tuned to Nick and my social media pages for the next Argo Bounce podcast show next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to break down an Argo's win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats and some of the latest stuff and trends and foods at the CNE as well. And get another comment here as we wrap up the show. Robbie Schneider from Buffalo, New York is watching. He is the host of the 716 Sports Blizzard podcast. Please check him out on YouTube and on X. He says, hi, Chris, go Argo. Thank you, Robbie, for coming on. Ken, thank you for coming on. And I want to say thank you to everyone for watching this on live stream and also on the audio platforms as well. And I have one more announcement to make before we go. The next Small Talk podcast, episode 8 with co-hosts Chris Pomay and Marlene Sharp, is going to take place on Tuesday, August 25th at 8 p.m. with special guests from Los Angeles, California, Lillian Carrier and Chloe Estelle. Lillian Carrier and Chloe Estelle will join me and Marlene on episode 8 of the Small Talk podcast this Tuesday, August 25th at 8 p.m. And the next Live with CDP Sports Entertainment talk show will take place next Wednesday, August 26th. I will make an announcement who my special guest is and what time it is as well. So I want to say thank you again to everyone for watching the Argo Bounce podcast show, the Small Talk podcast, and Live with CDP Sports Entertainment talk show. I have reached over 28,155 listeners on Spotify, and I am approaching 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and almost 900,000 views. So please make sure you subscribe to my shows on Spotify and also on my YouTube channel, Chris Pomay Live with CDP talk show as well. And guys, I will be at the Argos Cats game on Saturday night as freelance media. So make sure you check out my pregame pictures, videos, post-game interviews, and some stuff from the CNE as well. I had a great time on the show tonight with Nick and really enjoyed doing the show with Nick as well. And Ken and everybody, thank you for watching our show as well. I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening. Enjoy the CFL games coming up, obviously tonight with Montreal, Ottawa, and then we've got games going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm really looking forward to the Hamilton-Toronto matchup Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And if you want to get down there, argonauts.ca, or you can watch it on TSN or TSN 1050 on the radio with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant. So again, guys, that's it until Tuesday, August 25th, 8 p.m. with episode 8 of the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and myself. And I got one more comment, and this is from Rob Schneider from Buffalo. It says, "Go Bills." Robbie, this is not a Bills podcast, but Robbie, thank you for watching. Ken as well. So that's it, guys. As always, like Nick would say, go Argos, and look forward to my social media pages this weekend for Argonaut Tiger Cat media content as well. Have a great night, everybody. And as always, go Argos, and thank you for watching and listening to the Argo Bounce podcast show hosted by Dick Small and Chris Pomay. Good night, everybody.
together fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the top. Pull together till the Grey Cups won. Go Argos, go, go, go! Go Toronto Argos, go, go, go! Pull together, fight the foe, foe, foe. Scoring touchdowns for the blue on blue. The Argos will win for you. Full of fight and courage, you can't stop. They pile up the points until they reach the